Chapter 6. Awakening. What is that? The cave leading through the rock which was around Sena was an obvious artifact. It was a strange-shaped passage like one would find in a spacecraft. There was a bulkhead that remained half-open. That's it. Past that was a huge domed space. Here it is. The sacred place where the gods are worshipped, and where we keep the figure of our god. Is this? Sena looked up at the gigantic statue with a stupefied expression. It was half buried in rocks, but it was about 15 meters in height. Well, the visible half was, but the whole body was probably over 30 meters. A long time ago, in the distant past. Like a long time ago, like my grandpa's grandpa and his grandpa's grandpa long time ago. Evil came to this village. Thanks to the idol and the strength of the brave hero, the evil was annihilated. Its strength was like that of a demon's. Looking at the rock-covered statue, it was pretty clear that wasn't true. It was almost as if the rock had formed around it. There were clear signs of it being dug out of the rock by hand. Sena kept silent and listened to the elder while looking at Acha, who was eagerly praying. Elder. Oh! How's the evacuation situation? Everyone is headed here, but the machines are approaching quickly. Gayan. At that time, a loud scraping sound was heard from nearby. No! They're cutting through the outer shell. Skip the graces, let's cut to the ceremony. Ceremony? This village is once again plagued by evil and a brave hero has arrived. Our god has revived. Just as it was foretold. The elder looked up at the statue. The toxins that were being produced by the bacteria in Kashok had been neutralized, but not the bacteria itself, and she was quite weak and unable to evacuate. Kujuro stayed with her instead of evacuating. I'm no longer the shrine maiden. You must escape. Leave me. No, I won't. Even if you're not the shrine maiden, you're Aka's mother. Kujuro. Sakaka, you have fast legs. Please hurry and find help. I'll protect Kashok in here. The other adults and elders in the village should have ordered people to help Kashok, but they forgot. Yes, I'm on it. Sakaka rushed and quickly looked around for something to use as a weapon. He ended up settling on a nearby ceremonial dagger. Raise the output. Arga yelled. It's pointless. I think we're drilling through a spaceship. It has battleship-level armor. Shit, so should we just try going through the tunnels directly? I'm afraid of doing that. Who knows what will happen due to his luck? What if we use chemical weapons? Oh! But the Golden Wow is here with him? I don't want to burn her up too. There's always sleeping gas. That won't work. The GP bioenhancement probably makes it ineffective, and I hear he has a special suit. They wanted to confront him inside of one of the machines. It was a suicidal act for them to go out on foot while the rest of the machines were operating. What should we do? From the reaction of the vibration sensors, the inside seems to be half filled with rocks. In other words, there's a large hole somewhere. Do you know where it's open? I can't tell from here, but it seems that the outer wall seems to be somewhat degraded. It's possible to detect to a certain extent with the vibration sensor where it's brittle. Let's dig there then. Sakaka came running into the passageways. Sakaka, what happened to Ms. Kashok? Mikaka and Kujuro were never evacuated. Didn't anyone go to help her? The elders were alarmed. No one ever gave the order to. The outer shell sounded like a construction site as the machines tried to get through it. We'll send people immediately. No, Elder, it's useless. The entrance in the center is also buried. Is there no other route to get to Aka's mother? Sena asked. Sena, who was bioenhanced, was the best candidate to rescue her. Going outside is impossible in the state. And I don't want to make our brave hero go. Mother Sama. Kujuro. Aka was about to start crying. At such times, Sena hated his ability to detect danger because it made him understand that going outside was reckless. He had to quit thinking about her and had to start thinking about protecting Aka instead. Staying here is dangerous. Is there no way to escape to the outside? The end of this tunnel comes out outside the enemy base. If we go, then there will be nothing keeping them from attacking us. Now is the time to ask our god for help. The brave hero and the shrine maiden are here. We'll surely be saved. Everyone knelt and started praying to the idol. Sena was stuck. Kerchi was missing. Fuku was caught. Communications to the Earth were delayed for another 12 hours. No, stop it. Gagen. The instinct to defend was boiling in Sena. If you know the way to the base. So, if you can unlock Fuku's restraint using nanomachines, the enemy is targeting us. There's no time left. We have to sacrifice the hero and the maiden. Sena had been caught up in his own head, but was being lifted off the ground. He was tossed on a pad in the center. What? What are you doing? The ceiling of the shrine suddenly collapsed, and a heavy machine appeared to fall down from the ceiling. The pirates who weren't digging found Kashok and Kujuro and tried to capture them. Kashok tried to offer herself to them in exchange for letting Kujuro go. They cruelly declined the offer and moved to attack Kujuro. Kashok quickly jumped out of bed and picked up a dagger and pressed it against the other pirate's neck. If you hurt that child, he will die, Kashok said, but the machine didn't stop. Soon after, blood dripped down from Arga's neck. Did you not understand what I meant when I said stop doing this? Chika, don't worry about me. It's going to hurt, but I can be resuscitated. We need that wow. Kashok, having played her only card, put down the knife and surrendered when suddenly. Aura. It was like a mighty lion's roar, a dense mass of anger accompanied by a tremor. The sounds of the heavy machines that were digging faded away instantly. What? My sensors are all malfunctioning. What's wrong? We're looking into it. No, wait, stop, Suddenly the other side of the line went silent. A few moments passed and he got a message from another pirate. All machine alert. Heavy machines back to the heavy machinery storage. What's going on? There's something coming from the hole we dug. Zoon, zoon, zone. An odd sound gradually approached the surface. The commanding pirate silently stared at the hole. His whole body was drenched with sweat, and so were the other space pirates, but they weren't afraid of something invisible. Their instincts recognized the familiar sound. It was the thing that they experienced on a daily basis. The sound of death approaching. Zuwu-noon. 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 And it appeared from the darkness as a giant humanoid machine. Oh. The humanoid raised its head and roared as if to show its existence and power. It was the incarnation of destruction, the descent of a god of death. Shoot, shoot. That odor. What's this bad smell? Sena, who was in the cockpit of the huge humanoid, muttered. He put a small amount of force on the spherical controller. The humanoid rushed over to the nearest drilling machine and snapped it in half. The one behind it also split. Why? What is such a thing doing here? The captain of the enemy pirates shouted. Oh, yes, why is such a thing here? Sena, who heard them, agreed, looking at the expressionless girl in the cockpit who stood looking pale like a ghost. Several minutes before, it was definitely a transfer gate that the villagers had put him on as a sacrifice. But the problem was, where was he transferred to? He felt like something was biometrically scanning him. Perhaps it was some kind of biometric authentication. It was reasonable to think that the thing which they thought to be a religious idol was more than just a statue. Akka, are you okay? Hey, Akka? Akka. Strings of light began to dance around Akka and scan her. What? A time freeze. Akka was wrapped in a field and frozen in time. And suddenly the light began to swing around. It tickled him. A royal tree. The feeling was definitely similar to that of a royal tree. The nerve lights shining on Sena's suit emerged from the wall of the cockpit. Good, ZNV. Who is that? A human voice suddenly sounded in the cockpit. It spoke Japanese. However, he could not find a figure to go with the voice. Oh my. Do you understand me? It was a slightly flat way of talking without intonation, but it was clearly Japanese. Who are you? Where are you? Sena responded in Japanese. The voice made him feel nostalgic. I'm within ZNV. A sphere on the floor in the front glowed, and a girl came up from it. Are you? D. The last words he said unconsciously. There was no conscious part of Sena that would even know to say those words. Half of her bright young face was hidden by her hair. Her skin was pure white, almost transparent. She was a pretty girl who looked almost like a doll. I was sleeping alone here. I don't have my personal data with me. Personal data? Are you an AI? Yes. Well, what exactly is up with this ZNV thing? Actually, what happened to Akka? Tell me that first. Akka remained frozen in time. That child is time frozen because she was causing noise while ZNV was trying to link with you. I'll cancel the field around her when it's done. The girl let out a little sigh. What's wrong with you? I'm tired from talking. It's been a long time since we last talked. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was a bit unexpected, as this was uncommon even for advanced personal data, but her astral had clearly returned, and he could clearly make out her personality. Sena felt a certain familiarity spring up, and they smiled at each other. Right. A monitor suddenly started, and the state of the villagers was displayed. Sena had completely forgotten about it, but they were in the midst of being attacked by space pirates. Sorry. I was glad to see you for the first time in such a long time. The emotion felt between them was palpable, and if nothing had been going on, it would have been likely that Sena and the girl would have continued talking to each other happily for quite a while. Sena could feel this, but he knew he had to act. I have to save everyone. Well then, ZNV wants to go with you. The body of Akka emerged and came down to the girl. The girl held her. Of course, not physically, but the image of her did. What are you called in this era? Sena Yamada, and you? You've called me by my name already. What? It was unconsciously. My name is D. D. Nice to meet you, D. Yes. Now let's start, ZNV. The internal structure deformed, and a maneuvering system was built around Sena. Put your hands on the control ball. He put both hands on the spheres immediately as D instructed. Because it closely resembled the system which the Kamedake also used, he immediately understood. Oh! A basic control method was instantly installed into his brain. The idol began to vibrate, and the villagers raised a shout of delight. Oh! The god has risen. Now, everyone, get ready to evacuate. The idol stood up, effortlessly breaking the rock around him. Okay, what is this smell? Sena suddenly frowned. It wasn't coming from inside the cockpit, but from the outside of the dome. It was different from an odor. But Sena couldn't find the appropriate word other than smell to express it. It's human malice. The pirates wear it on themselves. But be careful. Don't be swallowed by it. Malice? Big brother, brother, brother. Help Kashak. Help me. Help me. Please help. At that time, Sena's consciousness heard Kujuro's screams. No, he felt it and the unbearable odor accompanying it. It made Sena's blood boil. Kujuro. Sena cried out. ZNV was suddenly outside the dome. Behind him was a tunnel over 50 meters long. That smell. Where did it go? Over there. ZNV thrust his right hand into the rock wall where it smelt bad and pulled it out. What's going on? The pirate's heavy machinery was 1/3 the size of ZNV. It was like a basketball held by an adult. ZNV pulled off the machine's legs like it was an insect, and then finally crushed its torso with both hands. Stop it. You're squishing me. The microphone function of the machine was destroyed. No, stop. D shouted. Sena stopped ZNV's hand. What was I, huh? The unpleasant smell hadn't disappeared, but he noticed what he was doing. A heavy machine jumped on ZNV with its legs causing supersonic vibrations. It had the power to easily crush rocks, but the exterior of ZNV wasn't rock. It seems that the armor has deteriorated considerably outside. However, D had on a slight frown. ZNV knocked itself back against the rock wall, rubbing the machine between itself and the wall. The heavy machine tried to escape by hanging on the wall, and a flash came from ZNV's hand. The heavy machine was cleanly cut into 6 pieces and fell to the ground. The unpleasant smell disappeared, which meant that the heavy machine pilot was dead. Sena, who noticed it, cried out. For the time being, those who were hunting the villagers have all been eliminated, D said. What? But I just started a moment ago. He had just killed quite a few people. Although he had no discomforting feelings about it, just relief that the disgusting smell had disappeared. Sena, it's dangerous for you to let yourself get carried away while being influenced by ZNV. Everything's all right now, but we need to be more careful about getting attacked. Our repair functions aren't working. It seems that 1 billion years really took a toll on things. What's that now? Sena asked to confirm again, because he couldn't believe that statement. More enemies seem to be on their way. Dee ignored Seina's question with a calm voice. Roger that. The threat hadn't been eliminated yet. Seina cleared his head and headed for the enemy approaching them. At the same time that the statue started to move, the Mikagami suddenly began to vigorously emit nerve lights. What's wrong, Mikagami? On that planet, someone's there. Oh my. Mikagami's voice was embarrassed, but full of delight. Aboard the hoist oak, the captain was examining the feed of ZINV and heavy machinery fighting. Is that one of those humanoid weapons the pirates have? We're getting an emergency contact from a short distance. They want to talk to the captain. Who could even be calling us? The secretary locked the entrance and the captain immediately prepared himself to receive communication. Who are you? Because this is an emergency, I will only be discussing the matter at hand. The captain looked at Sito with eyes open wide in horror as she came on the screen. However, he was a soldier, so he straightened up and concentrated immediately on Sito's story. The GP Army and the flagship, Senua, are on their way. What has happened to Seina Yamada? It seems that Tarrant was chasing him, but he hasn't been caught yet. The captain forwarded the previous live image. This thing is battling the units that were pursuing Mr. Yamada. I know nothing else, only where the hoist oak is. If possible, we recommend you protect Seina Yamada. If that's impossible, we recommend you escape quickly. We'll do our best. Thank you. Sito's communication dropped and the captain looked at his secretary. What do you think? Kara Yoichi must want to cut off the influence of Tama-sama and Akita-sama, and there's a high possibility that Seina Yamada is piloting that thing. Then, the value of making the shipment has evaporated. It was now known to Jurai. The plans to build a new ship with the Deadless data was in trouble. Prepare for withdrawal. Call those outside back immediately. That's one of Renza's giant humanoid weapons. What is that doing here? Tarrant's headquarters command center was in a state of panic. I don't understand. All those who entered the cave have been wiped out. What's going on? What about Seina Yamada? It's unknown what happened to him. We need reinforcements. I understand. Stall for as long as possible. Tarrant cut off communications. Arrange for reinforcements quickly. Hurry. Postpone reinforcements. Give priority to the Kamadakes transportation instead. Tarrant interrupted the director's aide. How's it going? Tarrant contacted the engineering department. We're currently transferring the necessary items such as our research materials. What do you think of that thing? There's little information to judge it on from the situation. But there's no doubt that it's a Renzan humanoid weapon. Well, that's obvious. Hurry up and prepare for the transfer. Tarrant was unhappy with the small talk he was hearing. Dr. Clay, have you seen this? It resembles the humanoid weapon that the pirates use, but it's a completely different thing. Why do you say that? There's considerable age deterioration on the armor. Although it's impossible to specify a detailed age, it has to be millions to hundreds of millions of years old. It's just speculation, but it may be one of the things that founded the humanoid weapons of Renza. Perhaps a remnant of this place being a heritage site of the prehistoric civilization. Moreover, there's a high possibility that Seina Yamada is on board. Why? Why do you say that? It's fighting in the GP combat style. Can you do something about this? If the battleship's main guns hit this spot directly, it may do something, or not. Either way, it looks like there's no time to know for sure. The base swayed greatly as Clay spoke. What? What's that? We're checking on it. Wait a moment. On the security camera, ZINV had finished battling with the heavy machinery and began to enter the base. We have about 10 minutes before that thing gets in here. Shoot! Shoot! Heavy machinery was sent at ZINV, but they had no effect on its armor. ZINV easily crushed them. ZINV was too strong. The armor of the heavy machinery was like a soap bubble to it. ZINV, calm down please. Occasionally, D chimed in, but the smell of the opponents offended ZINV. Seina's fighting instinct seemed to be putting it into a frenzy. Especially, the smell he sensed coming from inside. There's no doubt that Tarrant is in there. Seina had felt that malice many times. It was the first time he sensed it in the form of a smell, but it was Tarrant's. Even though the enemies in front of him had a smell, it wasn't as intense as Tarrant's. Seina, the people in the village. Reflected on the monitor was the villagers who were worshipping Xianvi. He noticed Kajuro. So, you came out okay, that's good. That lightened his heavy heart. Okay. D, can you break into an enemy base computer? The basic system is the same as what I'm used to, so probably. Okay. Xianvi soared high into the sky in one leap. The next moment after viewing the enemy base, Xianvi was inside the base itself. D, find the position of the Kamedake and Fuku. Roger that. Oh no. I had to stop accessing it. D said, oddly happy. What's wrong? I was stopped by Ms. Mitsuki. Ms. Mitsuki? What are you saying? Seina Yamada. Terrent was displayed on the monitor. Kerchi. Terrent had Kerchi tied up in front of him. I know that you're in there. Kerchi and the terminal body of the Kamedake are in my possession. D. I can't break the access lock. D said. Seina clenched his teeth. Come out of there. If you don't, I'll add Kerchi and the terminal to my body count. If you surrender, I'll keep them alive. They won't be free, but at least their lives will be saved. Xianvi moaned. That won't work, Seina. I don't care what happens to me. But you care what happens to her. Terrent grabbed Kerchi roughly. Stop it. Then hurry up. Terrent smiled as if he had won. Seina's advantage was gone. He either had to give himself up or kill Terrent at the expense of his colleagues. At worst, even if I die here, Tenchi will get my message on Earth and Washu is over there. D, can you handle things while I'm gone? Terrent knew Seina was inside of Xianvi, but he didn't know about D. Okay, leave it to me. Seina didn't know if she understood his intentions, but her response somehow assured him. As the front of the cockpit opened, Akka and D disappeared. Seina headed out. There was a small handle to open the cockpit. It was a physical escape hatch that could be used in case of an emergency. He used it and was lowered to the floor below by wires. Hey, did you hear? Seina Yamada was caught. On the monitor of the hoistoke was a guard in Terrent's base. Whoa, are you serious? You can't make this kind of thing up. A voice interrupted his communication. What's that?